Chapter 11. As an exhausted Bryant followed Jason into his bedroom the next morning, Diamond's synthetic voice called, "Morning, gorgeous!" and his face appeared on the computer monitor. Bryant turned to Jason and said, "Decided to bring your work home with you, I see." Jason tried to mumble a lame excuse about real-world interactive testing, but Bryant wasn't having any of his excuses. He knew that when it came to Jason uploading Diamond's personality software from the Entech lab, he couldn't help himself. With a sigh, he walked over to Jason's bed. 3 large synthesizer keyboards were laid out. An electric blue Ibanez Gem 777 electric guitar stood in its open case, propped up against the headboard. "I bet you fought your mom like crazy when you had to take piano lessons," Bryant estimated with a tired laugh. "Man, I hated playing that stupid piano. It sucked," Jason commented to himself as he slipped Rush's newest release into the mini-disc player. "But," Bryant continued as he picked up the largest of the synthesizers, sat on the corner of the bed and set the unit on his lap, "now you and Grigg have your own part-time garage band. Not too bad if you ask me. Sometimes I wonder if there's anything you can't do." Shaking his head, Jason said, "Nope, with the right attitude, anything's possible." Chuckling his disagreement, Bryant commented dryly, "It helps if you have an extra 8 hours every day that the rest of us normal people just spend sleeping." Jason just shrugged. "It's rough being a higher life form among all of you normal humans." He hopped over to Bryant on his knees and pushed a couple of buttons on the synthesizer that he held. Bryant ran his right hand all the way down the keys. The synthesizer produced an authentic guitar sound. "Did you and Mark finish writing the end of your instrumental?" Jason shook his head. "Almost, but not quite. We've been working." He was interrupted as the wireless phone on the dresser began playing the Star Wars theme. Both boys paused, then Jason crossed to his dresser, still hopping on his knees, and whistled with the theme as he pushed the talk button. "Acres Insane Asylum. Special group rates available." Again he paused, then glanced back at his buddy. "It's your nutty dad." He held the phone out with a grin. "Thanks," Bryant said sarcastically as he accepted the call. Jason laughed, grabbed the remote to his stereo, and turned the music down. "Yeah, Dad?" Bryant asked. Jason only heard Bryant's side of the conversation, but it didn't seem to be going in his friend's favor. "Oh, come on," Bryant mumbled, then pleaded. "But, Dad, Jason and I are going over—" "Yes, sir." Jason glanced at Bryant in confusion, who shrugged in desperation. "Can't I do it later?" Shaking his head, Jason picked up the middle-sized keyboard and sat it in its place. He turned it on low and played the first couple of chords of Night Ranger's Sister Christian. He made a few adjustments while Bryant pleaded with his dad to let him stay. Then he began to play the song's intro. The music flowed freely as his fingers nimbly pressed the keys. He closed his eyes. He felt the music. Resigned to his fate, Bryant agreed with his father and ended the call. With a sigh, he turned and faced his friend just as Jason was about to begin the song's vocals. "I have to split," he said unnecessarily, and set the phone back on the dresser. Jason shrugged and turned the keyboard off. "Bummer, but that's okay. We'll hang out tonight." He glanced at Bryant. "Unless you're planning on spending a nice, quiet Sunday evening with your girlfriend. Karen's family is stricter on how they spend their Sundays. I could go over there, but I'm not all that fond of sitting around being stared at by her 6 siblings," Bryant explained and walked to the door. "6? Completely understandable," Jason said with a nod and turned off the synthesizer. Just then the downstairs telephone began ringing. Beth answered it after it rang twice. "Jason," she called up the stairs a moment later. "Shawnee's on the phone." Jason grinned at Bryant and winked. Bryant laughed and headed for the door. Jason patted his friend on the shoulder as he passed him and followed him out of the room. He was careful to completely shut the door behind them. The 2 boys hurried down the stairs and Bryant slipped out the front door. Jason walked around the corner to the telephone in the den, which his mother held dutifully in her hand. "It's a girl," she teased with a grin. Jason's dad, who had found his Sunday paper, whistled over in the corner. "I don't know how you do it, Mom, but you just keep getting funnier and funnier," Jason teased back with a grin and took the phone. "Smart Alec," Beth said and slapped her son on the rear as he turned to sit on the end table by the phone. "Hello," Jason said pleasantly and grinned as the girl on the other end spoke. "Hi, Shawnee." "Yeah, I know," he agreed. "Phil?" "I don't know. They haven't said anything. As far as I know, he's still in ICU over at Valley Hospital. They're pretty sure he'll pull through." "Yep, Dragonfire." "No, I'm not worried. He'll be alive and kicking in a couple weeks, I'm sure." "Yeah, it kind of does make me wonder how the makers of this drug plan on establishing a clientele if everyone that takes it overdoses, but I guess so, as soon as I hear something. The conversation continued as he slowly walked up the stairs. Did your parents find out about the excitement at the party last night? Shawnee asked. Party, yes. Excitement, no, Jason replied. You didn't tell them about what happened? Shawnee asked in disbelief. Jason laughed. Are you kidding? That's all I need. They already think my soul is damned because I don't go to church. If they ever found out that there were drugs at a party I went to, they'd either lock me in my room until I was 21, or they'd totally disown me and kick me out of the house, he said. They'd never understand. Your parents aren't that bad. Give them a chance. They might surprise you with how understanding they can be. His insecurity in the situation came clear. But we're finally becoming good friends again. I don't want anything to ruin that, he said. Yeah, but wouldn't your parents want... Look, just drop it, okay? They'll probably find out eventually, and I'll worry about it then. Let's just drop it. Shawnee grew quiet for a moment, then ventured further by commenting, Mark said that Phil had told him that he was going to quit drugs. Jason nodded. That's the rumor, he agreed. Shawnee sensed that he wasn't finished, that there was still something he had to say. Inside her heart, she felt the pangs of his hesitance in confiding in her. They used to be able to tell each other everything. Now she had to fight and pry him sometimes to get him to even talk to her. But she waited, and knew she would wait however long it took. What a hypocrite, he grumbled. You know, I had no idea you could be so judgmental, she was interrupted. It runs in the family. Hey, Shawnee protested. Jason jumped and glared at the phone as if he could see through it. Were you there when he was shooting up? She demanded. Jason backed off. Were you? She asked again. No, he managed to say. Okay then. If you weren't there, then you don't know for sure that he willingly and deliberately took the drugs, do you? Shawnee continued. Jason hesitated. All right, Shawnee said, and sighed to calm herself down. Then until you hear it from his own lips, don't dwell on the possibilities. All you'll do is kill yourself. Since when are you defending Phil Barnes? He didn't accuse, simply asked. Shawnee replied, It seemed appropriate since he can't defend himself. Jason thought about what she'd said. Piece by piece he began to understand. With a nod he commented humbly, I guess I've been kind of judgmental, huh? Shawnee nodded and answered, Yeah. Wonderful, Jason decided.